my name is Renda Hurst, and today I am going to be demonstrating how to make my family's favorite brownie recipe. And I'm actually at my daughter's house. She has a lovely kitchen, and she's helping me to tape this today, so you may hear me give her some instructions. The brownie recipe I'm going to show you actually can be found in the library's cookbook on page 46. It's under Brownies. There are a couple recipes there, and mine is under Renda. And I will say that it is exactly that recipe with one correction to it. Someone else submitted that recipe for me when we did the cookbook, and they submitted it from the way I used to do it when I used to make more milk chocolate brownies. These days I make more of a dark chocolate brownie, and I like it much better. So instead of the semi-sweet baking chocolate, I use the unsweetened baking chocolate. So it makes for a darker and I think a richer brownie. Now this recipe is not a cake brownie. There's no leavening in it. So it's more of a fudgy brownie, which I really like. So to get started, we're going to use a half a cup of butter, margarine, Crisco, whatever it is you want to use. I like to do this all in one bowl. It's just easier and you don't have to keep switching things as much. So I'm getting out this butter and putting it into a microwave safe bowl. So then I only need, for a single recipe, to make an 8.5 square pan, you only need half of one of these bars. And my method is to kind of wrap it about mid-section on a counter and hope that it breaks right in the middle. There we go. So it broke pretty close to being that. I'm going to grab a knife here and cut just a smidgen off. So then the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to put this in the bowl with the butter. And I'm going to microwave it at less power than high. I will probably microwave this for 5 minutes at power 3 on a regular microwave. And I don't want the butter to start to scorch before the chocolate melts. So given that, I'm going to pause for a minute as I stick it in the microwave, and we'll be back. All right, well, through the magic of technology, we now have our melted butter and chocolate. And I will advise you that what I told you, the 5 minutes at 30% power, it depends on your own microwave. So just keep an eye on it so that the chocolate melts and the butter doesn't burn. So one of the two. So now we're going to mix this together. I'm going to use the hand mixer. Okay, that doesn't take real long. To that, we're going to add the sugar. I've already measured out a cup of sugar for this recipe. And if I make funny faces, it's because my grandchildren are messing with me. So here we go. Mixing in the cup of sugar. All right, next comes 2 eggs. Now you want to make sure that you're adding the eggs maybe one at a time, mainly because you don't want the eggs to cook in your hot chocolate and butter. So you want to make sure that your mixture is cool enough and that you're mixing it in quickly enough that it doesn't do that. So I'm going to, well, first start the mixer and then add the eggs. All right, so that's pretty incorporated. And to that, I've already measured out 3/4 of a cup of flour. Now, I would admonish you to only add a little bit at a time, otherwise you get a flour cloud and you can't breathe. So we do a little at a time. All right, and thank you to my trusty assistant who made all the stuff disappear. And now we're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. And this is the last step, unless you're like me and like to put in nuts. My grandchildren don't like to put in chopped nuts, so I'm not putting any in right now. So we mix this in. Okay, now we've got that all pretty well mixed in. My next step, let this drain for a minute. We've already preheated the oven to 350, and so we'll be sticking the brownies in there. I'm using just a square pan. And I don't know if your house is like mine, but I'm going to have 2 grandchildren. Oh, I forgot to mention, make sure that it's greased with some spray or butter, what have you. But I have 2 grandchildren that are sitting here looking at me. One will be trying to get the beaters and the spatula. The other will be trying to get the bowl. Because I'm old school, we didn't die from eating the batter, and so far neither have they. So that's good. Now I'm going to, because I can never get these beaters out on my own, I'm going to enlist the aid. And I'm going to put this into the bowl. I usually do this and come away with chocolate all over me. Okay. Then I like to, in order to make sure that it bakes evenly, I shake it first this way and then a little that way just to make sure it's evened out. From here I'm going to stick it in the oven for about somewhere around 25 to 28 minutes. What I would tell you is don't overbake it. Maybe almost err on the other side and underbake it a wee bit because you don't want them dried out. And so this is what we're going to do next. And when I get them out of the oven, I'll be back. All right, the oven just went off. We're going to test it, make sure that it's done. We're going to put a knife in it in the center and make sure that it comes out relatively clean, which means that it's done but not too done. So we're happy for that. So in a moment I'm going to slice this up and show you one way to plate it and serve it. But before I do, let it cool for a minute more. I did want to go over the recipe again. It is a half a cup of shortening, be it butter, margarine, or Crisco, what have you. Along with that, a half a box of, and I don't know how many ounces that is, but of the baker's chocolate or any other good kind of chocolate that you like to use. I like to use the unsweetened because it's darker. And a cup of sugar, 3/4 cup of flour, 2 eggs, and a teaspoon of vanilla. That's the basic recipe. Now I'm going to try, if it's not too hot, we're going to slice up one of these. And I'm going to make this one for my granddaughter. Now these are hot. You might want to let it cool just a titch more, but we'll go ahead and slice a little bit. And I know she likes an inside piece, so I'm going to stick that on the plate. I know she likes whipped cream. Haley, do you want to put on your own whipped cream? And I do want to say too, I appreciate the help of my children and grandchildren. You want some chocolate syrup? She does not want chocolate syrup. You want some nuts? No, but you can put sprinkles or whatever else you'd like on it. The chocolate chips are good. So any number of things. Well, I hope you enjoyed this brownie recipe as much as I do. Like I said, I wish I could take credit for it, but it came out of a cookbook. It's on page 46 of the library's cookbook. So thank you for being with me today, and hopefully we'll do some more.